Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we are traveling to Egypt in order to increase our influence and prestige in Pharaon. In this game, the players are the children of the current pharaoh, and you are going to be vying for the position of the next pharaoh. So you are going to be competing on the board, claiming resources, seeking the aid of different characters in order to gain victory points. That's the idea here. The game kind of feels like one of those point salad games in which every little action you take is going to give you some victory points. If you do that the best, you're going to have the most victory points at the end and win the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at how this works. I'll show you on the table. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. The game is going to be played over 5 rounds, and at the end of those 5 rounds, whoever has the most victory points is going to be the winner. They're going to become the next pharaoh. You're going to use the score pad down here to figure out everyone's scores at the end. So we begin with a few things, including one of these cards that give us some victory points and possibly a special ability, and then you are ready to go. So on your turn, you simply do one of 2 things. You use an area on the board, or you pass on the passing scale over here. So here we're taking a look at a game with 3 players. When you take a turn and you do an action out here, you are going to have to pay some costs in these resources to take the corresponding action. So I'm going to go ahead and explain how all of these work very briefly. The first thing to mention is every space, every area has an access cost, which is right here. In this case, we will not be using the last one in each color as it says 4+ players. So that one cannot be utilized. But if I want to go into, let's say, this area right here and do the power there, I have to pay 1 blue to do that action. That's my access cost. So if I had one of these blue resources, I could put it there, and then I'll pay for this action and take that. One thing to note is that the access cost will always be discounted from the action cost, if applicable. So if I was doing this action here, and then the cost for, I was paying that access, and the cost for the action was 2 blue and red, I'll only need to pay 1 more blue and the red, because this one is discounting that, yeah? All right, so let's take a look at what they all do. This one right here is going to move me up on these tracks. They're going to score me 7 victory points at the very top, or 3 below that, and I'm also going to get some resources as well as moves. So I could pay blue. I could then pay, let's say, blue and red, right? And so I'll just pay the red because I already paid the blue. And then I take a look at this one right here. Blue and red means I get 1 gold, 1 green. So I'd get 1 gold, 1 green resource. And then I move up 2 steps on either blue or red tracks. So if I want to do that, I could move boom, boom, twice on the red track. That's it for me. And this is now occupied. So this can be done twice more this round. That's it. Next up, this one over here, you are going to get these characters, these artisans, and they're going to give you victory points as well as resources. The cost there is 3 of the same. So if I play yellow here and then pay 3 blue, I could take any one of these. If I pay 1 yellow there and 2 more yellow, then I could take any one of these, all right? This one over here moves me up on these monuments. So I'm going to pay my access cost of a black one, and then the very first step is red-yellow. Moves me from here to here, gets me 5 victory points. The next one will be green and blue, will get me now 10 victory points, and so on. This one over here is going to get me one of those combinations of 2 tokens, and I could also pay another resource and take any of the ones in the center. Now the cost to go in there is always 1 of any color, meaning the one I pay here, so if I pay red, I already have paid the cost for this area, but I could pay another red and end up taking 3 of these tokens. Now, what do these tokens do? Well, they can be used as the matching color. Say if I take this as a green, it can be used as a green resource anywhere. Some of them have location symbols, though, like this one here with the little pyramid, matches that area. That means I can use it in this area as anything, but only in that area. And then some of them just give you victory points, +1, +2. Now, all of these tokens at the end of the game, these and those, are all worth 1 point apiece. So if I acquire this token, it does nothing else. At the end of the game, I'm going to get 1 point for it, +2 for the bonus. This area over here gets me these characters, and the cost is 1 of each. So I pay green, and then another black and red, blue and yellow, and I'll take 1 of them. They'll give you, like I said, victory points, possibly a special ability. Sometimes it's a one-time ability, such as this one here. It's only worth 2 victory points, but as soon as I buy it, and once only, it's going to give me 3 steps up on any of the tracks, these tracks over here, as well as 2 silver resources. And the silver in this game, these are wild. They can be any color I want them to be. So there you go. And that's all of the areas. So I might, on my turn, I began with a couple of extras, a couple of silvers, and then some of these tokens. And so we'll go around and take different actions. These do not replenish immediately, so they start going away. Cards do replenish immediately as you are taking them. So after 1 round and a few placements, someone will pass. So let's say I've already done a few actions out here, I'll pass. If I'm the first one to do so, I'll take my token and I'll put it on the first track here, the closest to the base of the pyramid. I get the star player token if I'm the first one to do so, and it reminds me right there. This, at the end of the game, if I have it, is worth 3 victory points. So I'll take that, and that's all I do. And then I take 1 of these 3 down here that gets me some resources. So I pass, I choose 1, I get blue, yellow, green, and this is discarded. And I take my blue, my yellow, and my green, put that in my pool. The other players will go. When it comes back around to me, if there's anyone still in, I move this over and I get whatever is pictured. In this case, any 1 resource. So I'll take any 1 resource. And then let's say blue passes. Blue's going to go to the next track up here. And then green is still taking actions and so forth. Comes back around to me. I go there. I get a silver. Goes to blue. Blue moves to there. They get any 1 resource they want to and they take that. And then green passes. Blue would have taken 1 of these upon passing themselves. So once green passes, they just move over to the next one. They take these resources, and then everyone comes back, and we start the second round. At the beginning of the second round, we are going to clear all of the access costs that have piled up on the track, and then this rotates. That's going to rotate one way or the other based on this right here that is simply flipped at the beginning of the game and will rotate in that direction for the entirety of the game session. So I'll just set that aside for now. So that rotates, and then we do it again. Whoever has the start player token, the first one to pass, is going to pay an access cost, take an action. We replenish these at that point, by the way, and we keep on going. Now, a couple of other things. This special token here, which is worth 7 victory points, is going to go to the first player to have both 2 of these characters. You begin with 1, so you just really need 1 more, and get to at least that level in the monuments. Whoever first accomplishes both of those things gets this, keeps it for the whole game, and gets an extra 7 victory points. Again, it reminds you there on the back. Another thing that has to happen while we set up a new round is we display some more of these jars so that when players pass, they may take some resources. So there you go. This is going to continue, like I said, 5 rounds, replenishing everything. This bag, by the way, contains those tokens there. So you are going to, replenish the spaces that have been taken with new tokens from the bag. And then at the end of the 5th round, we score the game. So we have the first one here, which is the different gods I haven't even talked about, and it's these characters here. Now, this board is modular. These 5 pieces were put together in a random order with the centerpiece locking them all together. Each of these is going to give you a number of victory points based on the 2 areas around it. So this one is worth 7 victory points if the player has qualified for both this threshold and this one. So in my case, if I made it to at least the 2nd level on the monument, and I have at least 3 of the artisans, I'm going to get 7 victory points. And you do that for all of the different characters. So that's the first column there. Second column, you score these cards. Third column, you score these cards. Next, you score the monument you made it to. If I made it only to there, 10 victory points. After that, we score our tracks. Then we score all the leftover tokens. Each one is worth a single point, including those with possible bonuses on them. And then lastly, you score anyone who kept the star player at the end and whoever got this during the game. You add up all your scores, you see who the winner is. That's pretty much it. There are on these characters over here, like I said, different powers, and they score based on different things. So for example, this one over here is going to score 3 victory points plus 3 per red card, which is these kinds of cards. And then no special ongoing power at the bottom. This one over here, which has a little gear symbol on the side there, means whenever you take one of the jars, you can choose just to take any 3 tokens you want. You're not tied to what the jar is, but then you turn this card sideways and you can't use it until you ready it again. That's the idea. The way you get jars besides passing is sometimes you get them from the artisans, such as this one here. You would get 1 silver and 1 jar. If I claim this character, I just flip over a jar and I get whatever's on it. If I had this special ability, though, I could ignore it and take whatever 3 I want. So there you go. A few, just to highlight a couple of little combinations you might witness in the game. So there you go. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how the game works. There's also a solitaire mode, which involves these columns here. And it would replicate another player playing, and tokens will collect on these tracks, these kinds of tokens, and trigger special abilities for your quote-unquote opponent and things they are doing, victory points they are gathering, and so forth. So there you go. Pretty cool that there is a dedicated solitaire mode. I'll talk more about that in just 1 second. So let's go back up top, and let me tell you what I think of it. And so that's the game. Hopefully that made sense to you. It's a fairly straightforward design, really, with a lot of little choices, but it's pretty simple to grasp. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think of it. I'm going to start with my main negative here, and that is the thematic ties and the setting in the game. I think the setting is actually all right. I like this world that we live in. Thematically, what's going on is you are succeeding the Pharaoh. I did not get that from anything going on in this game, really. It just seems like you are, maybe trying to control things, vie for power, build things. They seem like the actions of a current Pharaoh, not a Pharaoh's child, maybe. And anyway, it just doesn't really translate to be a strong theme. I suppose no one is going to be playing this because it is so thematically immersive, but I figured I would mention it. The rest of the aspects that I take a look at when I review games, I really enjoyed. So, aesthetics. Game's well made, looks good. Board is really neat with that locking system in the middle, so I like that a lot. Everything looks good. They give you a nice scoring pad. I like the scoring pad in this. It facilitates everything, so no concerns there from me. Replayability is also good. The game scales really well, I've found, and the solitaire mode I gave you a brief look at is excellent. I really enjoyed the solitaire mode in this. It's captivating. It's interesting. So you have plenty of variability and sort of little things to focus on, you know. Is the replayability infinite? No, you will see all the cards, you know, after a couple of plays. There's all of that. But from game to game, you can focus on the different aspects of what's going on, and it's going to feel fresh for a while, I would imagine. The game length is good. 5 rounds feels really tight. I enjoyed that. And you cannot do everything, which I also appreciate in a game like this. That feeling of time's running out. I wanted to push my monuments up further, but I can't because I'm running out of time and I need to do this other thing over here. And I need to maximize my scoring from the characters I've taken, or I need to maximize this other thing over here. I like that. I like game lengths that feel tight like that. Ease of play. It's a very well laid out rule book, so I like that. The concepts of play, while there are a few of them, are simple. and the game is easily digestible because of that simplicity, that sort of streamlined feel to the whole thing. Even the solitaire mode, which is has a little more going on, that is not anything you deal with in the regular multiplayer game, still easy to understand. I had a couple of minor questions, but it was no big deal, so thumbs up there. And then lastly, tactics and strategy and luck, things like that. There's a little bit of luck, but you are going to mostly be dealing with what's on the table. You see what's coming, you know what you're taking, you are making victory points from choices you are deciding to take, right? So it is a strategic game. There is both some, reactionary things you're doing, like, oh boy, those access costs over here are drying up quickly. If I intend to do that, I better do it quickly. But there is strategy all over the place. Things you can focus on, keep chipping away at them in order to really score big there. So I like that. I like the many paths to victory. Scores seem to be tight in the game. And it's got that, like I said, little point salad feel to it, Make a few points here, make a few points there, focus on one thing and make a lot of points from that one thing. So it gives me that feeling of there's always something to do. I mean, even when you pass, you are making stuff. That feels great. I really like that. So there you go. As you can tell, I like the game quite a bit, so I'm going to give you my bottom line. Here it goes. While it looks complicated, the game is simple, plays excellently at any player count, and stays interesting the whole time, even through scoring. This is going to get an 8.5 out of 10 from me, which means it's going to get a seal of excellence. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it strongly, and I think if you're looking for a game of this ilk, of this style, I think you're going to enjoy this one, especially if you are hoping for something that is perhaps not as heavy, not as complicated as other games that do similar things tend to be. This one manages to do a lot of little things while keeping things clean, right? The entire package is streamlined. So there you go. That is Pharaon. Thanks for checking this out, everybody. I am Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.